Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the Hebrew Canaanite channel. And today, what I want to do is talk about the new report by the human rights organization, the Israeli human rights organization called B'Tselem. This report came out 2 days ago on Monday, and it was accompanied by a very grandiose PR campaign. And the report, after 21 months of obvious genocide happening in Gaza, finally decided to call things what they are. Their big announcement was, we finally decided to actually call it what everyone who isn't a Zionist knew it was until now, for a very, very long time, a genocide. And you can already get from my tone how impressed I am by this. And what I want to do today is to go over this report and and we're not going to go deeply into the report. It's a 90-page, almost 90 pages. So we're not going to read the actual report, every part of it, of course not. This will take days if I want to make serious commentary. And of course, I didn't read the entire report. It doesn't matter. What we will do is we will talk about the enveloping thing. There is a video. There is like Q&A. There are Facebook posts, Instagram posts. There is like an executive summary of this report. And we will go over this generally. And my point is, there's noise from outside. I will close the window 1 second. And the main point that I want to make is that this is a great example for how so-called human rights, humanitarian organizations are an integral part of the system. This might sound counterintuitive, but that is what I want to say. And that specifically Israeli human rights organizations are a part of the Zionist system. They play a role. The people who are in those organizations are actually servants of the system. It's a good question how much they are aware of whether they are a part of the system and serving the system. Probably not completely aware, because they want to do something good, okay? And maybe this is the first caveat that I want to make. This is not to say that the people involved in these organizations are bad people. It's not my claim. My claim is that there is a structure here, that there is a system called the Zionist system, and that this system has many parts. It can be regarded as a cult, and everyone who is part of this system or part of this cult is serving this system in some way, even if they go against some of the more aggressive, violent parts of this system, namely the genocide, the ongoing, very, very extreme part of the genocide, which I consider the genocide of the Palestinians to be an ongoing process that has been going on for almost a century, or it depends on when you start counting, but let's say a century. So I'm not saying that these people are bad people. I'm not saying that B'Tselem is not doing important work. They are. But if we want to take things seriously, if we want to take the movement of resistance against the Zionist system seriously, if we want to actually succeed, we need to see things for what they are. We need to understand how this system is constructed, how it operates, what different parts it has, and how the different parts work together to create a certain result, even when those parts seemingly go against each other, are at odds. Okay, so this kind of structure where two different parts of the system are against each other is part of the show. It's part of the thing that allows the system to continue working in the way it was intended to work. And this is the kind of thing that I want to say here. And also, I want to say something in advance. This is going to be a very difficult video for me to make. It's always a difficult subject to talk about a system of oppression that is currently committing a genocide. It's always a difficult thing to talk about a cult that I was born into. The Zionist cult is a cult, very, very, very extreme cult and manipulative and sinister cult that I was born into. It's always difficult. But this is maybe the most difficult part of this, which is criticizing those people who are supposed to be on my side. Okay, and this is what they will say. This is something that has been said to me a lot. Why are you going against us, or why are you going against them? We're on your side. Attack the ones who are not on your side. Okay, this is and it has an effect on me. Okay, because yes, these people are supposedly on my side. Some of them are my friends. Okay, like I know some of these people. I will say along the way, like some of these people are people I communicated with on Facebook or social media, or some of them I talked to, I had personal conversations with. And this is what's so tricky about it, okay? That people who you consider to be good people, you consider to be on your side, who you consider to be your friends, and you see them behaving in ways that, like, you think about it seriously, you think seriously about the political questions, the prominent, the urgent political questions that are relevant to this subject, and you say, no, this is a problem. This is problematic, and then you find yourself in this weird situation where you say, hold on, do I want to speak up and to criticize the problematic aspects of what is going on here? Or do I want to, let it be? Okay, okay, these people are good people, they're doing good work. I don't want to stir things up too much. And this is a question that you always have to ask yourself. And I think that this is a very important thing to realize about how these systems, about how cults operate, because you always find yourselves in this situation, and the only way to really, really dismantle these systems is to keep our integrity, to keep our commitment to the truth, to the end goal, which is dismantling the oppressive system. Okay? So, before we begin, I just want to ask you if the video is good, if the sound is good, if you hear me well, if you see me well. And I want to, yeah, it's perfect. Okay, good. Thank you. And also, I just want to say the usual spiel. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I see that I have a lot of new viewers recently because the video where Tamar and I were speaking about our decision to leave Israel, that is occupied Palestine. That video became a little bit viral. I don't know why, but it did. And I gained a bunch of new subscribers. So welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome to all the new viewers. If you're not subscribed to the channel and you want to support the channel and my work, you can subscribe. This is a good thing that helps, and click the like button. Go to all my videos and click the like button on all my videos. Share some of my videos that you think would be interesting to your friends. Share like spread the word of this channel and the work that I'm doing. If you like my work, this helps me. And of course, if you really want to help, you can join my Patreon. I will put the link to the Patreon here in the chat, and also I will put it in the description of the video if you're watching after the fact. So if you want to help in any way for me to continue doing this work, and for this channel to prosper, and for the message to reach as many people as possible, this is what you can do. Before I begin, I forgot my drink. I will bring it 1 second and we will begin. Okay. It's very, very hot here in July in Palestine. As you can see, I have my fan here. I have a cold drink. If not, I will be sweating like crazy, and I will not be able to think. My brain will stop working. So this is very important. Okay. Will donating to your Patreon help the Israeli economy? Only in the most indirect of ways. Yeah. If you mean alone buying food and that helping the Israeli economy, then yes, because I live here in Palestine, it is impossible to live in Palestine and not participate in some way in the Israeli economy. But I do not make enough money to pay taxes to the state of Israel. Okay, and I'm very, very far from it. So in a direct way, it will not. Okay, it will. Some of it goes to Patreon. Okay, some of the money that you donate to Patreon goes to Patreon. I don't even know what percentage, because I haven't made enough money yet for it to be relevant. So some of it goes to Patreon. Patreon is part of the capitalist system, and and Israel is an arm of the capitalist system of the West. But in that sense, everything you do is part of it. So I don't know. The answer is always yes and always no. Okay. Yeah, okay. Someone asked, someone said, read Alon Mizrahi today. And then Ori wrote, I prefer not to associate with him. Anti-trans, anti-vax. Was a big right-wing op-ed writer just 10 years ago. I agree with Ori, and thank you for saying this, Ori. Because I've gotten a lot of messages from people saying, please read Alon Mizrahi, please watch what he put up, maybe have him on your channel, and blah 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 blah. And I kind of avoided it until now, because I don't like him because of many things. Yes, anti-trans, definitely. Anti-vax, definitely. Also a carnist. He is a carnist. I saw him. I've known Alon Mizrahi. Like, I haven't known him personally. I was following him on Facebook since a decade ago. Okay, and I always felt that something was off. He is also. I perceive him as someone who is sexist. I also think that he is a narcissist. And I wasn't going to say anything like direct, but then I saw, oh, what was it that I saw? I saw him replying to some Zionist post with like sexist slur, like your mother is a prostitute. He didn't say prostitute. He said something way more disgusting. And I was like, okay, I don't like. He's still sexist. He still uses sexist slurs against Zionists. Okay, but so what? So what? What is the problem with prostitutes? Prostitutes don't. They're not causing any problems. Okay. The problem is the system that is forcing women to sell their bodies. So why use prostitute or a slur that is synonymous with prostitute as a curse word? Why do that? It only means that you are sexist. Okay, so I don't want to collaborate with Alon Mizrahi. Okay, just so you know. But that's it. I don't want to speak about it anymore. This is the last time that that I will talk about that. So let's continue with the subject of today, B'Tselem, in their report. Oh shit, Bob is a Zionist troll. I think. Can I permanently hide user on this channel? Does this permanently hide him on this channel? I hope he will not return. He's only annoying, this Bob guy. Okay, let's continue. So, as I said, this is quite a difficult subject to talk about because these are people who are supposed to be on my side, because these are people, some of them I know, some of them I know from Facebook, some of them I had interactions with, and they are supposed to be my friends or my allies. But I think that this is why it's very important to do it as well, because I want to expose the role of Israeli human rights organizations in the Zionist system, okay? Because it's very, very confusing, okay? So I'm going to do my best in this regard. So what we're going to do is to just go and look at the page that you see. So this is the page that you see when you look for this report on the B'Tselem website. And this is the first thing that you see when you go to this page. And I think we can end the discussion here, okay? Because what is the name that they chose for the report? The name that they chose for the report is Our Genocide. Think about this for one moment. And I want you to like, okay, we will first, it's like so many thoughts are coming to my mind just because of these two words. So many things that I can say. So you see, first you see how self-centered it is. This is not the genocide of the Palestinians, the victims of the genocide. This is our genocide. This is our genocide. The perpetrators. The genocide of the Second World War, okay, the genocide that was perpetrated by the Germans and where the Jews were the victims, is the genocide of whom? Of the Jews, of course. This is our genocide. We were genocided, so this is our genocide. But the current genocide, where the Zionists, not Jews, but Zionists are the perpetrators, and the Palestinians are the victims, whose genocide is it? Oh, it's our genocide again. It's our genocide because we're doing it, so it's our genocide. I expected the reaction. I think it means as we are doing the genocide. Of course, this is what it means. Of course, this is what it means. But you know, the superficial intention is one thing, and the deep meaning of what of the choice of word is another. Okay. And one other point that I want to put into the discussion here: a human rights organization is, first of all, an organization. This is what it is. It's an organization. So I got an interesting criticism in the last live stream that I did with Elik, where we talked about what is effective resistance and what is ineffective resistance. And one of the points that we raised was that it's kind of difficult. There is seemingly an inherent contradiction in organizing activity in an anarchist way. And someone wrote to me that I don't remember who, but I remember what they said. They said, Alon, you keep confusing anarchism with lack of organization. And I'm not saying I'm not at fault in this, but I think that this is it's not that I don't understand the difference between like lack of organization and anarchy. It's not that I think that anarchy is just a lack of order. It's not what I think. But I do think that when we are talking about organizations, my shirt says organized chaos. Is it intentional? No, it's not. It's not intentional in the very specific in this specific case, but it is intentional in the sense that I saw this shirt and I was like, okay, that's nice. That was a few years ago. So let me rephrase my claim in a more precise way. When we talk about organizations in the context of a highly hierarchical system that is unfortunately the most dominant system in human society on this planet Earth, organization is done almost always in a very specific way, namely in a hierarchical way. Okay? And in a way that is capitalistic, okay? And so forth and so on. This is why it is so difficult to organize in a non-hierarchical way, in an anarchist way in our society. We are all conditioned, heavily conditioned, from the moment we are born and every single moment of our life to organize in a way that is hierarchical, because this is the society that we live in. And no matter how much we try to deprogram ourselves from these tendencies, we will not completely clean our minds and our spirits from this. Just we have to acknowledge this. So when we speak about a human rights organization, we have to remember that this term organization is in the context of a highly hierarchical, capitalistic, imperialist, Western supremacist, white supremacist, patriarchal, state-controlled, so forth and so on, and especially in our case, Zionist context. This is the kind of organization that it is. And this is not just an abstract claim. This is a claim about how things work. Think about it. An organization has a lot of employees or volunteers. The employees get a salary, right? You need office space. You need like equipment to produce things. You need a marketing team. You need a social media team. You need managers and CEOs. You need I don't know, secretaries and paper, and you need to send mail, and you need to pay for like programs on the computer, and you need computers, and you need blah 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 blah. This requires a lot of resources. I personally am one person. I'm trying to do my best as one person. Okay, I'm not an organization. I just opened the YouTube channel like 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. I opened the YouTube channel, and I bought a camera for like $100. Okay, and later I bought a microphone for like $50. And before that, I had a computer that I bought, I don't know, for $800. But I had it because I needed it for like my life. Okay, and I have a phone that my dad bought for me. Okay, that's it. So I don't have a lot of resources, and this is why the content that I produce is very low quality. The production of my content is very low quality. What can I do? I believe that on the deep level it is high quality. This is why I continue to do it, and the audience will judge. We can help with better quality. Anyone who wants to help me, please, with anything that you can help, I would really, really, really appreciate it. Okay, send me an email. Okay, to hcanaanite@gmail.com. This is an email that I had to get for free. I don't have a website because this costs money, and it costs resources to do everything, and editing takes a lot of time and effort, and blah 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 blah. So an organization requires a lot of resources. I don't know how to. Maybe we at some point we can go to like the financial reports for B'Tselem. But it's obvious that the budget is like in the hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year, like at least, right? Who do they get this budget from? I don't know exactly. I didn't go deeply into it. Okay, maybe someone knows and they can write in the chat. I don't know. But the point is that they are dependent on resources. They are dependent, and these resources come mainly from Israeli society. They are dependent on the police and the authorities not giving them fines, not arresting them, not shutting them down. And the Zionist regime is not shy in going against organizations that they deem to be problematic and going against the state and criminal. Okay, so they can't say whatever they want. They can't do whatever they want. Okay, there is a system of incentives and restrictions on what they can and cannot do, on what they should and shouldn't do. And this is different. This is different from, just private people doing what they want. And this is also different from the thing that to me is an abstract concept. I haven't experienced it in practice. Anarchist organization, where the way that things are organized is flat, okay, and which is independent from other hierarchical structures. Okay, the moment that you are dependent on a bigger hierarchical structure, it is much more difficult, if not impossible, to have a non-hierarchical and anarchist structure within your organization. And indeed, B'Tselem has a hierarchical structure. Okay, they have a CEO, they have blah 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 blah. Okay, I don't know what my end point in this tangent was, but this is important. Okay. So this is an organization. Therefore, they have people who are responsible for their PR, their public relations. And this report, I'm sure that a lot of work was put into this report, and I'm not trying to belittle the amount of work and the seriousness of the work that was put into this report. On the contrary, I think a lot of serious work was put into this report, months of work. And part of this work was the PR considerations. How to market this report, how to brand this report. And I'm sure that dozens of hours of discussions were put into the choice of the name for this report, quote unquote, our genocide. I'm sure that there were discussions about target audience, and we will talk about who is the target audience of B'Tselem, about messaging, right? Okay, all those things that you know very well from corporate culture. And we have to understand that what we see here is the result of a certain culture. And this culture is corporate culture. The fact that this is a human rights organization does not mean that its culture is not corporate culture, and corporate culture is a product of our neoliberal, hyper-capitalist society. And the system of incentives and restrictions that it imposes on all of us, both as individuals and as organizations. And this is why it's so creepy. You will see it's creepy. This report is creepy, or the envelope of this report is very, very creepy. And I will emphasize these aspects. And this is, I think, a result of it being a product of corporate culture, which dominates everything in our society, every organization in our society, even human rights organizations. So a lot of time and effort was put into the choice of this specific brand, our genocide. So we have to analyze it and analyze it in a way that truly appreciates the seriousness of the people who chose this brand. The marketing seriousness, maybe not the political seriousness, because it doesn't. The political seriousness is not part of it, I think. Our genocide. I think another important point to raise here is that, in my opinion, the most telling thing about someone's political position and where they are, like in terms of what their commitment is, what commitments they have, is what they mean when they say the word us. And I will explain. When an American, a US American, says the word us, they usually mean us Americans. When a white supremacist says the word us, they usually mean white people. When us of A, exactly, us of A. When a Western supremacist says us, humanity, they say us, they mean Western countries. So for example, Yuval Noah Harari, he wrote the book Sapiens, and he says that this is a brief history of humanity. But I saw a criticism the other day, like a day or two ago, about this book, and the woman criticizes the book, and she says, when Yuval Noah Harari speaks about humanity, he speaks about Western culture. This is what he means when he says us. When a Zionist says us, they mean Jewish Israeli society. When a human supremacist says us, they mean humanity. I must tell you that when I say us, I try to avoid saying the word us recently, ever since I started realizing this point more and more and more. But if I do use this term us, I try to mean every living being on the planet, every earthling. This is what I try to mean. And if we discover that aliens exist and they contact us or we contact them, then I will try to include them in that us. Okay? But I think it's a very good idea whenever you are interacting with someone and trying to gauge where they are politically, see what they mean when they use this word us. And it is very clear by the choice of this brand, our genocide, that when B'Tselem uses the word us, they mean Israeli Jews. And I think that this is proof enough that they are Zionists. I think we can end the discussion here. They are obviously Zionists and therefore obviously part of the system, therefore obviously in some way servants of the system, and they should at least be suspects of this. We should not be naive about their intentions and about their goals. We will see this in practice very soon. Their subtitle in the top left is the Israeli Information Center. I'm sorry, what do you mean exactly? The Israeli Information Center for Human Rights in the Occupied Territories. Okay, yeah. They say Israeli. We're Israeli. I mean, you could say, oh, there is just a technical, but no, it's not technical. As you are right, Old, that it's not technical. There's nothing technical about it. It is serious. It is a serious claim that they are first and foremost Israeli. Our genocide. And I think that we need to again emphasize the extreme self concentration here. Okay? I said many times that I believe that Zionism, like the ideologies that accompany any system of oppression and any cult, is a collective narcissism, is a form of collective narcissism. And I think this is expressed here again. We are talking about a genocide, but what is the subject of this genocide? The subject of this genocide is us. Who is us? Jewish Israelis, the perpetrators of the genocide. What is the subject of the genocide that occurred in the 1930s and 40s in Europe? The subject was the Jews, the victims of the genocide. What is the subject of the genocide that is occurring in Palestine in the 21st century? The subject is Zionists, is Jewish Israelis. Again, the perpetrators of the genocide. Okay? So I think this says a lot. And also I want to emphasize like the melodrama here. Just everything is so melodramatic. And also melodrama, this is something that I think was brought to my attention by Daniel Mate in our conversation. Elik and I had a conversation with him in the first episode of the Yalla podcast. And so someone is saying in the chat, it's an Israeli org that addresses the Israeli people. It's objectively true. I agree. I am not arguing with this. This is, of course, a fact. But we need to think what is the meaning and implication of this fact. And I think this is very important to think about. Okay. we have a Zionist troll here. Let's let them be a Zionist troll so that we can see what Zionism is all about. Okay, unless they start cursing and behaving aggressively, we will let them be. Anyway, what was I saying? So okay, so let's. So the point that was made by Daniel Mate is that melodrama is something that is very, very characteristic of, first of all, narcissists. Second, of cults, which are a form of collective narcissism, so it's no surprise, and of the privileged class in oppressive systems in general. Okay? Whenever Zionists talk about issues relating to Zionism, they are very melodramatic. Whenever human supremacists, which is almost all humans, talk about issues of humanity, they are very melodramatic. Whenever I don't know, whenever cult members talk about their cult, whenever religious people talk about their religion, they are very melodramatic. And this melodrama, so melodrama is a kind of act, okay? It is an act that is not self-aware. I think maybe a good definition for melodrama is when someone doesn't act, but they are not self-aware, okay? If someone doesn't act and they are self-aware, and they are doing it in a manipulative way to get a certain result, then they are a psychopath, okay, not a narcissist. If someone is doing an act, but they're aware of it and their audience is aware of it and they know that it's an act, then this is I don't know, acting, okay? Then this is acting, like art. We can call it art. But whenever someone doesn't act and they are not aware of it, but it is manipulative, then this is narcissism. I don't know, this is my 2 cents about like this psychological taxonomy, okay? And maybe Tamar and I will do an episode about this because I think it's a very interesting topic, and Tamar and I talk about it a lot. And Tamar is a psychologist. Tamar, my girlfriend, who also appears on this channel a lot, is a psychologist, and and we think about these subjects a lot. So this is my short summary. It may not be accurate or precise in any way, but I think it has some merit. Okay. So what I do on this channel is a kind of act, okay? But I'm aware that I'm doing a kind of act. You are aware that I'm doing a kind of act. And this is art, okay? It's art. What is art? I'm trying to convey some kind of message. I'm trying to do it in the most honest way possible. But sometimes I will do an act to, make the point in a better way so that you understand it better. This is what I do when I teach mathematics as well. It's a kind of act, okay? But we're all aware that this is an act and no problem, okay? I'm not trying to be manipulative. I'm trying to make a point. Zionists are not aware of their act, which makes it melodrama. And this is our genocide, our genocide. This is melodrama, okay? I want to show you, maybe this is a good place to show you a post on Twitter that I saw that I think really drives home this point. I will share it. Oh my God, too many windows. Hold on. I will share this. Okay. So this is some leftist Zionist, like liberal Zionist, and she's writing, I will translate. B'Tselem issued a report. Our genocide. Our genocide. I roll the words on my tongue, trying to get used to it. Our genocide. This is our genocide now. From now on and forever, we will no longer be only victims of genocide, but also perpetrators of genocide. Every nerve in our body is screaming. How can we continue to sleep, eat, breathe with this knowledge? So you see the melodrama, right? You see the melodrama. And I think, oh, only showing a black screen. Oh no. But I read, did you, never mind. So you don't know the name of the poster. But I read to you the translation of the post. This was the melodrama, okay? Maybe I should do it again. I will do another performance. Now you can listen more. I will not show you, just so that you don't see who the writer is. Maybe there are privacy issues here. I will do a further dramatic reading of it. I will try to do an even better act now. And I'm acting. It's not manipulative. It's rhetorical. Okay, so that you see the melodrama. Okay. B'Tselem issued a report. Our genocide. Our genocide. Rolling it around on my tongue, trying to get used to it. Our genocide. There is an our genocide now. From now on and forever, we will no longer be only victims of genocide, but also perpetrators of genocide. Every nerve in our body is screaming. How can we continue to sleep, eat, breathe with this knowledge? Did you like the show? Did you like the show? I don't mean to make light of this, okay? I don't mean to make light of the subject of genocide. But I think when people are being narcissistic, when they are behaving in a melodramatic way, parody is one of the most important and powerful tools to deconstruct this, to ridicule them, and to, pop their bubble of lack of self-awareness. Okay? So during this live stream, I will continue to do some parody. Okay? I will continue to use parody as a tool to show you the melodrama and the rhetorical devices that are being used in this report and the PR campaign that enveloped its release. And this is not because I'm trying to make light of the subject of genocide. Of course not. Of course not. But because I'm trying to show you the kind of attitude that these people have, because I think it's important to expose it. Okay. So let's continue. And my point is that this kind of melodramatic reaction, that the woman who put up the tweet that I read to you is the target audience of the PR campaign of this B'Tselem report. And this kind of reaction is exactly the kind of reaction that the report and the enveloping PR campaign tried to elicit in the target audience. Okay. So let's continue with our genocide. So we can read the text, but first of all, I want to show you the video. Okay, here is the video that was released. This is like the shareable content. Okay, the report was released together with this video. I'm not going to show you the entire video, but I just want to show you the vibe of this video. Okay. Trigger warning in this video. There are very difficult images. Okay, from Gaza. But I think it's important to see what kind of vibe they are creating here. Okay, I will put my headphones on so that I will also hear the sound. Please tell me if you hear the sound of the video.
אבל כמעט שנתיים שישראל מבצעת ג'נוסייד בפלסטינים. זה בלתי נתפס. אבל כמעט שנתיים שישראל מבצעת ג'נוסייד.
Already I have some stuff to say. So can you hear the sound of the video in the live stream, in the broadcast? Please tell me on the chat. Anyway, I will start commenting. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. This is the first words that they choose to say in this video. Okay, you hear the sound one. These are the first words that they choose to say in this video, which is this is the shareable content, as I said. They're not expecting anyone too many people to actually read through the entire exhausting 90-page report. And I didn't read through the exhausting 90-page report. They're not even expecting most people to read the 5-page executive summary, which I did read mostly, or I skimmed through it, okay? They're not even expecting many people to look at much of the Q&A, maybe a little bit, okay? And maybe they're expecting people to read through the first couple of paragraphs here in the presentation of this report, okay? What they are expecting people to do, I think, is to watch this video and to share this video. This is what I think they're expecting. So this video is maybe the most important part of the text. And the very first words that they choose to say is, it's unbelievable. And my question is, unbelievable to whom? Unbelievable to whom? It's not unbelievable to me, I must tell you, because I've already come to terms with the fact that my society is committing a genocide. That the country that I was born into, that the cult that I was born into is committing a genocide. You know what? I already predicted that this society will commit a genocide 15 years ago. I wrote it on Facebook, that there will be extermination camps at some point in the future. I knew it because I felt how racist my society, the society around me was. So it's not unbelievable to me. It's not unbelievable to the vast majority of my audience, is it? Right? Because you've already known that this has been happening for over 20 months, 21 months, right? So it's not unbelievable to you, right? Who is it unbelievable to? It's unbelievable to the target audience. This is one property of the target audience of this report and this video. That when Yuli Novak, the chairman of B'Tselem, says it's unbelievable, they will say, yeah, it is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. For people like my father, for example, it's unbelievable in the sense that even when I tell him Israel is committing a genocide, and I've been telling him this for a year and a half now, it's still unbelievable. And he says, I can't believe, I talked to my father yesterday on the phone, and I repeated the claim that Israel is committing a genocide and committing a Holocaust. And he said, oh, I cannot believe that the soldiers of the IDF would do such things. It is unbelievable to him. I don't think that my father is the target audience of this video, although maybe I will send him this video, okay? But the target audience is those people who would assume that it's unbelievable, but maybe can be swayed a little bit to finally believe it. Okay. But you know what? When they use these words, it's unbelievable, it's unbelievable, it's unbelievable, this already creates something. This already creates a certain rhetoric. And this rhetoric says, no, but we're a moral society. We're a moral country. Our army is the most moral army in the planet, right? In the universe. It's unbelievable, but no, I'm sorry, B'Tselem. It's absolutely and totally believable. The decision that you made, the rhetorical decision that you made based on the market research of your target audience is a decision to say something that is a total lie. Because it's not unbelievable that Israel would commit a genocide. It's not just believable. It's to be expected. Every single colonial project has when it matures enough, will commit a genocide. Colonial projects, especially settler colonial projects, are genocidal in their very nature. So it's not unbelievable that the Zionist project is committing a genocide. It's to be expected. And if you pretend that it's unbelievable, then this is where you cooperate with Zionism, with the Zionist propaganda. And we will see this again and again and again. I think this is the first example that we see of how this report, it goes against the genocide, but what it doesn't go against, say it with me, is Zionism. Because this is a Zionist organization, it's a Jewish Israeli organization. B'Tselem is a Jewish Israeli organization. It is an integral part of Jewish Israeli society, an integral part of the Zionist system, and it will never, ever, ever, ever go against Zionism as a system. Never. And we will see this again and again and again. And maybe this is my most prominent criticism of B'Tselem. This is what I want you to see, that they don't go against Zionism. And when you go against the genocide, but don't go against the cause of the genocide, the root cause of the genocide, which is the Zionist system, the Zionist project, and Israel, the Zionist state, you are not actually going against the genocide. You're just pretending to go against the genocide. Okay. Second point, for nearly 2 years, I have two things to say about this. If you immediately they admit that the genocide has been going on for nearly 2 years. Now you're calling it a genocide, and now you're saying that the genocide has been going on for nearly 2 years. Where the fuck were you? Where the fuck were you for 21 months? If this genocide has been going on for 21 months, why didn't you call it a genocide earlier? Why? They will give some excuses, and we will talk about their excuses as well. But that's what they are, excuses, not reasons. I will tell you what the reason is, because I see right through it. It's super transparent. The reason that they waited this long is that they waited for the right time where the repercussions for calling it a genocide would not be as severe from their surrounding society, and where the repercussions from outside for not calling it a genocide will be too severe. This is the moment where all the liberal Zionists are waking up. In the last, let's say, month, 2 months, so many liberal Zionists have been waking up. waking up and saying, oh, I'm against what's going on in Gaza. I'm against the starvation. I'm against, oh, this is a genocide. This is a Holocaust. Suddenly they wake up and suddenly they're against this. Suddenly they were always against this. But I know what I experienced right after October 7th. What I experienced in October of 2023 and November of 2023 and December of 2023 and the first few months of 2024. I experienced complete solitude and complete loneliness within Jewish Israeli society because I was one of the very few people, and I'm not saying this to flatter myself, I'm saying this to tell you that all of the people that are waking up now and pretending that they were always against this were not always against this. They were not always against this. In October, November, and December of 2023, they were not against this. They were either silent, very few people were speaking up against this. I was one of them, so I know how very few there were because I felt alone. I felt completely isolated. I felt completely lonely. Whenever I saw anyone else speaking up against the genocide, I was like, fuck, it's another one, it's another one. And I could count the number of people who were speaking up against the genocide in October, November, and December of 2023 on the fingers of my hands and feet. Suddenly, they're all waking up and speaking up against the genocide. Suddenly. Why? Because the reason that they're speaking up is not their moral indignation against the genocide. The reason that they're speaking up is that now it is better for them in the sense of their image. The calculations that they are making are calculations regarding their image. How much will they hate us outside the Zionist cult if we don't call it a genocide, whether versus how much they will hate us inside the Zionist cult if we do call it a genocide. And recently, the calculations, the incentives shifted. Recently, the incentives shifted, so the liberal Zionists started calling it a genocide, and B'Tselem did this as well. Is it a coincidence that they all started speaking up at the same time? No, it's no coincidence. Nothing significant changed in what Israel was doing in Gaza. Nothing. What changed was their calculation around their image. So for nearly 2 years, Israel has been perpetrating.
זה בלתי נתפס, אבל כמעט שנתיים שישראל מבצעת ג'נוסייד בפלסטינים ברצועת עזה. ג'נוסייד הוא דבר שלא אמור לקרות, לא פה
I don't even know what to say about this. Why do we even need to say this? Why do we even need to say that genocide is not supposed to happen? Why are we in this situation? Okay, never mind, let's continue.
ולא בשום מקום ולא בכלל. זה מסוג הדברים שפשוט לא יכולה להיות להם הצדקה.
Our genocide is happening now. Oh, we need to wake up because this is our genocide. Because this is our genocide. We don't want to be remembered as those who committed a genocide. Our image is important. Whenever Israel oppresses Palestinians, there is a discussion being had within Zionist society about whether it's good or bad to oppress the Palestinians in this specific way. And there are usually two sides to this discussion. And one side of this discussion is that it's good to do it because the Palestinians are our enemy. And the other side of this discussion is it's bad to do it because it's bad for us. This is usually the discussion that is being had within Zionist society. It's all self-centered. All of it is self-centered. And you see how this is expressed even here, even in those people who are supposedly on the side of the Palestinians, even they are completely centered on Israeli society. They call it our genocide, and they say it's happening now. And okay, so my point was that usually, why is it bad for us to oppress Palestinians? Sometimes they say because it's bad for our moral fiber. Sometimes it say because it will also hurt us when the same practices in Gaza and the West Bank will be used inside 48 lines. Blah 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 blah, stuff like that. But the main argument that people use is it's bad for Hasbara. It's bad for Hasbara. We shouldn't do this because our image in the world will be damaged. And I think that this is the kind of argument that we see here. Our genocide is happening now. We have to stop it. We don't want to be remembered as those who committed a genocide. Let's continue.
לא האמנו שנכתוב את הדוח הזה אי פעם,
Images from Gaza
אבל
to
אנחנו גם
target
חיים בתוך
the-
מציאות שלא האמנו שנגיע אליה.
We
על
didn't
סמך
believe,
המידע
we didn't
והנתונים
believe,
שהצטברו
unbelievable,
ועל בסיס
unbelievable.
ניתוח עמוק ויסודי של הסיטואציה, ברור לנו שישראל פועלת באופן מכוון ומתואם להביא להרס טוטלי של הפלסטינים ברצועת עזה.
All of these videos, let me go back a few seconds. This is a video, I remember this video because I put it up on my channel as well. On my Instagram page as well. I remember this video. This is a video from almost a year and a half ago. So nothing changed, right? Nothing meaningful changed. What we're seeing here, when I saw this video, I was like, fuck. This is the exact same thing as the videos that they showed me when they educated me about the Jewish Holocaust. So I was like, okay, so this is a Holocaust. It's very obvious. Everyone knows. Everyone has known for a year and a half now. In the middle of October of 2023, Professor Raz Segal, an Israeli historian who is an expert on the research of the Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust, and genocide in general, and who is the head of the Department for Genocide Research in the University of Stockton in the United States, wrote an article, and the title of the article was A Textbook Case of Genocide. This was again in October of 2023. He talked about what was happening. He talked about the rhetoric that is being used by the politicians in Israel, by public figures in Israel, and by Israeli society in general. And he said, yes, this is a textbook case of genocide. This is obvious. I read this and I was like, yes, this is a textbook case of genocide. This is obvious. I saw these pictures and I was like, yes, of course it's a genocide. We see these images. It's the same images that I saw in the Holocaust movies. So of course it's a genocide. On January of 2024, Badem Panada, a YouTuber that I appreciate very much, who is also trained in historical research. He's not a historian, he's a YouTuber, but he's trained in historical research, academically trained. And he published a video that did very meticulous work that proved that what was going on in Gaza, that what Israel was perpetrating in Gaza was a case of genocide. This is a video that's like an hour and a half long. It builds the case, even in the narrow definition of the legal definition of the UN of genocide, which is a very narrow definition. He did the work. He compared it to the genocide in Srebrenica, where international courts determined that it was a genocide, and he showed how what was happening in Gaza, even on January of 2024, was way more clear than what happened in Srebrenica. With like the numbers, the practices, the rhetoric of the people committing the genocide, everything was very clear. Only a year and a half later, suddenly B'Tselem comes with their own report and proving that it's a genocide, using evidence that was publicly available for a year and a half. So we don't need you. We don't need you.
מתואם להביא להרס טוטלי של הפלסטינים ברצועת עזה.
ג'נוסייד זה הרס אלים מכוון של קבוצה מובחנת, במיוחד קבוצה אתנית, לאומית, דתית או גזעית, כקבוצה. כלומר, הקורבן בג'נוסייד הוא לא רק האינדיבידואלים שחברים בקבוצה, אלא...
והנה, עזה נבנתה במשך עשורים בראש של הישראלים כמין חור שחור. בני אדם שחיים שם הם אלה שאפשר להטיל עליהם מצור, שאפשר
So as you see, the target audience for this video, I will not go too deeply into it. We can analyze every single second of this video, and this will be a live stream that's like 10 hours long. No need to do it. As you see, the target audience of this video is Israeli society. They explain to Israelis, okay? This is their goal, to explain to Israelis. And please notice in the background, what is in the background?
תקיף בהפצצות בלתי מובחנות. הם אלה שאפשר היה במשך שנים לפגוע בהם בלי לשאת בשום אחריות ובלי לתת על כך את הדין.
You hear the piano in the background? Okay, and the piano stops. The piano stops. Please listen to the piano in the background. This is a trope.
חברים בקבוצה, אלא גם הקבוצה.
This is a cliché. This is a cliché that is meant, it's a trope in cinema that is meant, it's used in commercials, this is another trope, I will talk about this. It's used in commercials, especially, and in like, video texts to evoke a certain emotionality, okay? And they use this piano tune. This is a calculated rhetorical tool, a trope of cinema to evoke certain emotions, melodramatic emotions. Another trope is, so you see, a few seconds ago you saw Yuli Novak speaking, and the camera is looking at her directly, but afterwards they cut to Yuli Novak, the head of B'Tselem as well, again, the head of
חברים
B'Tselem.
בקבוצה, אלא גם הקבוצה כקבוצה.
They cut to Yuli Novak,
ג'נוסייד.
and now the camera angle is like a long shot that shows the lighting and the production room. This is another trope to create closeness and familiarity with Yuli Novak while she is speaking. Look at the calculated production. Everything here, they took a production company that know what they're doing. They wrote a script, they wrote a screenplay, they had a director, they had an editor, they had a person who did the music, a musician who did the music. They had everything. The cost of production of this was probably tens of thousands of dollars of this specific video, and the entire report and campaign, tens of thousands of dollars, maybe more. I don't know. I'm ignorant about this. I don't know how much money exactly, but everything is calculated to be melodramatic and to tug at the emotional strings of their target audience to elicit a certain reaction. Okay, and then
תמיד ילווה במחיקת האנושיות של הקורבנות, כלומר, בדה-הומניזציה שלהם. תביני, עזה נבנתה במשך עשורים בראש של הישראלים כמין חור שחור. בני אדם שחיים שם הם אלה שאפשר להטיל עליהם מצור, שאפשר להתקיף בהפצצות בלתי מובחנות. הם אלה שאפשר היה במשך שנים לפגוע בהם בלי לשאת בשום אחריות ובלי לתת על כך את הדין.
And the music stops. The piano music stops. Now they want to make the point that the 7th of October does not justify the genocide, okay? But look at this.
לג'נוסייד תמיד יהיה הסבר ונימוק.
Hold on.
לרוב ההצדקה שלו תהיה צורך בהגנה עצמית. איזו תחושה ממשית של איום קיומי. המתקפה המחרידה של חמאס ב-7 באוקטובר עוררה אצל רוב הישראלים בדיוק.
Now they talk about Hamas's horrific attack. Why? because they are speaking from inside the Zionist cult and to people who are part of the Zionist cult. So they have to pay the lip service. They have to condemn Hamas, and they do. Look at them condemning Hamas now. Their point will be that even though what Hamas did is inexcusable and horrible and crimes against humanity and criminal and the terrorist act and they're monsters and they're blah 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 blah, even though all of this, the genocide is not justified, but they will say all of this. Look at them saying it.
תחושה כזו.
לכל ג'נוסייד יש טריגר, ובמקרה של הג'נוסייד שלנו, הטריגר שהוביל לתמיכה של...
Okay, so the translation is in our case, she says in our case, but what she says in Hebrew is in the case of our genocide. Why? Because this is another trope. They have a movie, and in the movie, and they make a trailer of the movie, and in the trailer of the movie, there has to appear a quote said by one of the main characters in the movie that includes the movie title, right? This is a trick, a rhetorical trick that they use in production, okay? And this is what they did here. She said, in the case of our genocide, we have to include the title of the report, the branding, inside the video in a key moment in this video. So she says, in our genocide, blah, 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 blah.
ובמקרה של הג'נוסייד שלנו, הטריגר
Look at how she emphasizes it. She says, הג'נוסייד שלנו, our genocide, look at how she emphasizes it.
ובמקרה של הג'נוסייד שלנו,
see, שלנו, she emphasizes it. שלנו, you see? Propaganda 101 is written, someone is writing in the chat, propaganda 101. Yeah, exactly. This is propaganda. This is what it is.
הטריגר שהוביל לתמיכה של כל כך הרבה מהציבור הישראלי במהלכי הממשלה, זאת ההתקפה הנפשעת.
Okay. Hamas's heinous attack. They must call it a heinous attack. They must pay the lip service and condemn Hamas. So, you can say in their defense, what is their goal? Their goal is to say that even though the attack was so heinous and criminal and blah, 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 it still doesn't justify genocide. But there is another goal that is not as clear here, and this is hidden in the previous sentence.
הציבור הישראלי במהלכי הממשלה, זאת ההתקפה הנפשעת של הג'נוסייד שלנו, הטריגר שהוביל לתמיכה של כל כך הרבה מהציבור הישראלי במהלכי הממשלה, זאת...
Okay. The trigger that brought so many of the Israeli public to support the government's actions was Hamas's heinous attack on the Gaza envelope on October 7th. What are they saying? Let's say it not in a roundabout way, but in a direct way. What they're saying is that the Israeli public didn't want to commit a genocide. No, they had no interest in it. They didn't want to support it, but then the Hamas attack on the 7th of October happened, and this triggered something. And then the evil government that did maybe want to commit a genocide, it's unclear whether they did or didn't. Maybe it also triggered the government, we don't know. But then the government used the trauma. They used the trauma of the Israeli public from the October 7th attack to make them support genocide. This is the narrative that they are telling. And when you see the actual report, let's go back to the actual report, you will see that this is exactly what they keep saying. So, where did I see this? Here. How does the report address the Hamas-led attack on 7th of October 2023? Because when you are talking to Zionists and trying to speak against the genocide of the Palestinians, one of the first things that they will say, but they attacked us on October 7th. They attacked us on October 7th. They attacked us. So this is what they need. So now they need to answer, right? Because this is their target audience. But let's see how they answer. They say the Hamas-led attack on southern Israel included horrific crimes and marked a terrible milestone in a long history of violence and killing. We condemn Hamas. We condemn Hamas. The report addresses the deep trauma. We don't just condemn Hamas. We acknowledge your trauma. We acknowledge that you are a victim, that you, reading this, are a victim. First and foremost, we acknowledge your victimhood. The report addresses the deep trauma experienced by Israelis that day and the Israeli hostages, some of whom are still being held in Gaza. We have to talk about the Israeli hostages as well. They're paying all the lip service, And how will they explain it to themselves? They will say, we need to do it to convince the Israelis to not support the genocide. We will ask ourselves if this is really what is happening here. And the Israeli hostages, our analysis shows how the Israeli government has cynically exploited the trauma experienced by many Israelis and used it to carry out genocide and ethnic cleansing in the Gaza Strip. And now they say one crime doesn't justify another. Now they make the point. But what do they say secretly? What they say secretly is that the Israeli public is not responsible for the genocide. The Israeli government is responsible for the genocide. The Israeli government cynically used the trauma. Who is at fault for the genocide? Hamas and the Israeli government. These are the two factions responsible for the genocide. They are to blame. Hamas and the Israeli government, not the Israeli public, who was manipulated. Who were they manipulated by? Hamas and the Israeli government. Hamas did the attack, caused the trauma, and then the Israeli government used the trauma to make them commit a genocide against their will. And you see how this cooperation and collaboration with the way that this discussion happens within Zionist society causes them, and we can ask how aware they are of this, but what they do is they blame Hamas and the Israeli government for the genocide. Who is more to blame, Hamas or the Israeli government? I don't know. But it's certainly not the Israeli public. It's certainly not the ones who committed the genocide in practice. It's certainly not the soldiers who shot the Palestinians. It's certainly not the pilots who flew over Gaza and dropped the bombs. It's certainly not the soldiers who drove the tanks. It's certainly not the Israeli society that repeated the propaganda and that believed the propaganda and that wanted to believe the propaganda. It's certainly not those who said that we must destroy Hamas, we must destroy Hamas, we must destroy Hamas, and therefore everything that is happening in Gaza is justified. Certainly not those people, certainly not my family who kept saying that it's good what's happening there, and that some of them put on uniform, and that some of them ignored it and denied it. Certainly not those people. They are not at fault. They were just traumatized. What do you want from them? They're traumatized. This is one of the main points of this report. This is one of the main conclusions of this report, that the Israeli public, that the Jewish Israeli public is not to blame for the genocide, and certainly not B'Tselem, who didn't call it a genocide for 21 months. Certainly not them. What do you want from them? They're just a human rights organization. You want them to speak up against genocide before the genocide is completed? Come on! Are you some kind of purist? We are pragmatists. We, B'Tselem, are pragmatists. We speak against genocide only when it's convenient for us. Are you some kind of purist who wants us to speak up against genocide in the beginning of the genocide? Be pragmatic. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. Washing their hands clean. This is what we see here. Let's go back to the video.
ההתקפה הנפשעת של חמאס נגד עוטף עזה ב7 באוקטובר. ההרג של כל כך הרבה אזרחים ישראלים, החטיפה של ילדים, של נשים, הטראומה נפלה על כר פורה.
Take a guess if the Hannibal Directive is mentioned here.
מבחינת הממשלה הימנית קיצונית ביותר שאי פעם הייתה לנו.
You see, it was a right-wing, it was an extremist right-wing government. We just happened to have an extremist right-wing government. Who was this government elected by? We don't speak about that.
היסטוריה של ישראל. ממשלה משיחית שמבחינתה זאת בכלל תקופה של נס.
Messianic government. Liberal Zionists love the word messianic. Why? Because the narrative of liberal Zionists is that Zionism is not inherently problematic. The problem is certain factions that interpret Zionism in a messianic way. The religious extremists, the settlers, the ones who live in the West Bank, the extremist messianic settlers, they are the problem. Those liberal Zionists who are secular, who are Western, who believe in values of freedom, of equality, you know, of justice, they believe in all of that. They believe in democracy, right? They believe in that. But those messianic extremist settlers, they believe in killing, they believe in genocide, they believe in all the bad things. They are the problem. If only we were the leaders of Israel, if only we had our say, we would bring about the good version of Zionism, the peaceful version of Zionism, the non-violent version of Zionism. Oh, the pilots are liberal Zionists? The pilots who dropped the bomb are liberal Zionists? What do you want from us? This is just a reaction to the other religious extremists, the Hamas religious extremists on the other side. I am a liberal Zionist. Don't take this out of context. This is an impression that I'm doing, a parody that I'm doing. I am a liberal Zionist. I condemn extremists on both sides. I condemn the extremist messianic settlers, and I also condemn the extremist radical Islamist fundamentalist of Hamas. I condemn the extremists on both sides. I am the good one, and they are the bad ones. And if you are an anti-Zionist, then you are part of the extremists of the other side. You are a supporter of Hamas. This is what liberal Zionists keep telling me. That if I'm an anti-Zionist, then I'm actually a collaborator of Hamas. I'm an extremist from the other side. I'm just as bad as those messianic extremist settlers. This I heard many, many times from liberal Zionists, that I'm just as bad as the messianic settlers. So this is a messianic government elected by the messianic settlers, and they are at fault for this, and they use the trauma of the good people of Israel. They use the trauma to commit the genocide. This is the story that they tell. This is the narrative that they weave. You know what? I wasn't so sure that I was doing the right thing when I started this live stream. I was like, maybe don't criticize B'Tselem. They are on your side. But now I see that I have to criticize B'Tselem. They are just liberal Zionists, and they have to be called out for what and who they are.
זאת פשוט הזדמנות מבחינתם, כדי לקדם אג'נדה שהם ניסו לקדם כבר שנים רבות.
They tried to promote this agenda for years, not the Zionist project. It wasn't the goal of the Zionist project to begin with, to clear the area of as many Palestinians as possible and to bring as many Jews as possible to the land of Palestine and to expand the land that was controlled by Israel, by the tool of the Zionist project. It wasn't the goal to begin with. It was those extremists who used the trauma to do it. I'm going to put another user in timeout because this is just distracting me. A Zionist role, I'm going to put them in timeout. This is their point. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. You have they are speak. Why is this in English? Why is this translated to English? Because they want people from all around the world who are now going against Israel and now understanding that the Zionist project is inherently problematic and going against all Israelis, or at least all Israelis who are not outwardly anti-Zionist. They want to make a PR campaign that would tell them, no, there are two sides to Israel. One side of Israel is the bad side, the genocidal side, and the other side of Israel is the good side, the liberal side, and we're on the good side. And the people who we are talking to are on the good side. And what will we tell them? We will tell them, how will we convince them to acknowledge that this is a genocide and to stop supporting the genocide? The way that we will do it is that we will tell them, you are not to blame. You don't have to look inward. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to doubt your support of Zionism. You don't have to doubt your identity. You don't have to question your ideology. You don't have to question anything. You don't have to look at your own morality, at your own actions, and at your own crimes. No need. You were just manipulated by the evil messianic government into they used your trauma of October 7th. What happened on October 7th was horrible. It caused you trauma. You were in a traumatic state, and this allowed the evil messianic government to manipulate you into supporting a genocide. This is what you have to understand. And if you understand this and you start calling it a genocide, you agree with us this is a genocide, and you stop supporting the genocide, then everything will be okay. And you don't have to look at your morality, and you don't have to look at your actions. You don't have to change anything about yourself. You just have to say, oh, I'm now against the genocide. And you will wipe your hands clean, wash your hands clean of all responsibility. So please join us in washing our hands clean of all responsibility and pretending that we were always against this. This is their rhetorical line. This is what they think will work. Maybe this is what they actually believe. I've come to learn that when people tell you, no, I am saying this because I want to convince the other people, this is what will convince other people. Usually, what happens is that what I found out is that this is what they really think. Okay? 1 second, the cat is meowing and it's driving me crazy, so I will take a 2-minute break, okay? Benny, you want to be the star of the show as usual? Okay, so Benny is here. I will show you Benny. Benny is here. Please, Benny, entertain the audience while I get myself a drink, okay? He doesn't know English. I hope he understands. Okay, I'm sorry, Benny didn't do his job very well. I'm sorry for the dead air, but we are now back online. Oh, I didn't lose too many viewers because of this, so great. Maybe I will also take a break because it's difficult to do this analysis. My brain is on hyperdrive. So I will just say, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, share this video with your friends if you think that they will find it interesting. Share other videos from the channel if you think that your friends will find them interesting. Like all the videos on this channel, comment on this video something interesting, start a discussion, help the algorithm, okay? And if you really want to help me, you can donate to my Patreon, the Hebrew Canaanite on Patreon. This is the link in the chat, and also I will put the link in the description of this video for those watching after the fact. Oh yeah, Zionist propaganda in the chat. I will put this user in timeout as well. I'm done with this. Okay. So you see the narrative being weaved here. And this is how this report plays into Zionist propaganda. Because think about this. Think about this. If we say that the Hamas attack was criminal, if we say that it indeed caused trauma, if we say that this trauma was used by the extremist government and so forth and so on, then this plays into the propaganda of the Israeli government, right? Of the Zionist regime. Because the propaganda is the Hamas attack was horrible and criminal. We don't want anything like this to ever happen again. If we want to stop this from ever happening again, the only thing that we can do is to destroy Hamas. The goal of the war is to destroy Hamas. That's why we're doing it. That's why it's justified. This is the main line of Israeli propaganda, right? This is the line. So they are going along with the line of Israeli propaganda. And this is how they are actually an integral part of the Zionist system, because they don't challenge the basic assumptions of the Zionist narrative. And I want to make another point in this vein. Look at the beginning of the video. In the beginning of the video, Yuli Novak, the head of B'Tselem, says, for nearly
זה בלתי נתפס, אבל כמעט שנתיים שישראל מבצעת ג'נוסייד.
Israel has been committing a genocide against Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Is that really true? I would say, and this, I would say this because I understood this after speaking with Palestinians who actually understand the narrative of the Palestinians and their experience having been oppressed by the Zionist regime for almost a century at this point. So someone in the chat is saying a bit longer than 2 years. I don't know if you're sarcastic or not. I will assume that you are sarcastic. Yes, because it's a genocide that has been going on for a century. The genocide, and this Ilan Pape says as well, the genocide is a long process. With sarcasm, okay. It's a long process with many different stages. The stage that started on October 7th of 2023 was just one of the most extreme stages of this genocide. Another stage that was also very extreme was what happened between 1947 and 1949, which is called the Nakba. That was also a very extreme stage of this genocide. But if we want to truly understand what is going on here in Palestine, we have to look at the entire process. We have to look at what is going on as an ongoing genocide that has been happening for around a century, with stages where the genocide is low intensity and with stages where the genocide is high intensity. This report, but if you look at it like that, then this means that the Zionist project is a genocidal project from its inception, from the beginning. And this means that you have to, that if you want to be a moral person, then you have to go against Zionism. You have to be an anti-Zionist. And B'Tselem is a Zionist organization. So this means that B'Tselem cannot look at the process in the correct historical context. They cannot say that the genocide is something that's been happening for a century now, with different stages of different intensity. They have to define only what's been happening ever since October 7th as a genocide, and the rest is what? Okay, so the rest is, let's look at how did we get to a point where the Israeli regime is committing genocide against the Palestinians, okay? Genocide is usually the result of a gradual development over years of conditions in which a repressive and discriminatory regime turns genocidal. So Zionism was only repressive and discriminatory, it wasn't genocidal. Then after October 7th, it became genocidal, you see? You see? And why did it become genocidal? Probably because of Hamas and their heinous attack, right? And the extremist right-wing government that used the trauma, and so forth and so on. Decades of occupation, oppression, and apartheid have produced deep dehumanization of Palestinians who have come to be viewed by Israelis as a threat and as a problem to be solved. So you see, what happened before October 7th was only oppression, occupation, and apartheid, dehumanization, okay? Viewing Palestinians as a threat. This was what was happening before October 7th. And only and October 7th was the trigger that made everything genocidal. They will not, this is what Zionists love. They love looking only at specific disconnected parts of the story, and what they hate is looking at the entire story as a big organic process. Why? Because if you look at the entire story as a big organic process, you will see that this process is the process of the project of Zionism doing what the project of Zionism does, which is doing colonialism, doing genocide, doing ethnic cleansing, doing, you know, what it does. So they have to look at specific parts. So there are certain problems with the Zionist project. One problem is that it had an occupation. And when they say occupation, they mean only the occupation of the West Bank. It practiced oppression. It had apartheid. And again, do they mean apartheid within 48 lines or apartheid only in the West Bank? I think they mean apartheid in the West Bank. They don't make it clear. But the point is, okay, there are aspects of apartheid. And the goal here is to not criticize the root cause, which is the Zionist project itself. Because then they would have to go against Zionism, and then they would lose everything, the entire support of Jewish Israeli society. So this organization would crumble. The moment that they go against Zionism immediately, this organization would crumble, and this is why they frame it in the way that they frame it. Let's continue watching the video. We were here, right?
תמיכה של כל כך הרבה מהציבור הישראלי במהלכי הממשלה, זאת האקטים של נשים, הטראומה של נס, זאת פשוט הזדמנות קורה מבחינת הממשלה הימנית קיצונית ביותר שאי פעם הייתה לנו בהיסטוריה של ישראל. ממשלה משיחית שמבחינתה זאת בכלל תקופה של נס, זאת פשוט הזדמנות מבחינתם, כדי לקדם אג'נדה שהם ניסו לקדם כבר שנים רבות.
תמחה את זכר המלך. And now they show the extremists, Orit Struk, Bezalel Smotrich, they are the ones responsible, really responsible for the genocide. Everyone else who participated in it is a victim.
פלסטיני, אין דבר כזה.
אנחנו נותנים לכם את האפשרות, לכו מכאן לארצות אחרות, ארץ ישראל שלנו.
Not the pilots, not Gantz, not the pilots, not Yair Lapid, not Yair Golan, not the leftists. The leftists are not the problem. It's the right-wing people who are the problem.
אני עובד 21 שנים בארגון בצלם. משהו קרה אחרי השבעי באוקטובר, זה נפתחה השערים של גיהנום.
When is this? This video I also posted on my Instagram page. And this was again end of 2023, beginning of 2024. What changed? What changed, B'Tselem? Nothing changed. All the evidence that you're bringing here is things that happened a year and a half ago. Nothing changed.
מה שאנחנו רואים זה בעצם שילוב של פרקטיקות ג'נוסיידליות, כלומר הרג המוני והרעבה והרס התשתיות האזרחיות, וגם אפשר להוסיף
מספר הרוגים ואפילו השימוש של אורז או עדשים אך של...
הג'נוסייד מתבצע עכשיו ברצועת עזה, ערבית. אין שום גוף, שום מנגנון שפועל כרגע לעצור.
אנחנו מדברים מאז 7 אוקטובר ועד עכשיו הריסות בתוך מאז 7 אוקטובר
עכשיו ברצועת עזה. אבל את ההחמרה באלימות של ישראל כלפי הפלסטינים אנחנו רואים בכל מקום.
You hear the piano music in the background? Listen to the piano music in the background and suddenly it changes.
ברור לנו לגמרי שהג'נוסייד יכול בכל רגע להתפשט גם לגדה המערבית. אין שום גוף, שום מנגנון שפועל כרגע לעצור אותו.
אנחנו מדברים מאז 7 אוקטובר ועד עכשיו כמעט...
You see how the music changed? Suddenly, the music is like this.
שום גוף, שום מנגנון שפועל כרגע לעצור.
פיאנו?
אנחנו מדברים מאז 7
ערבית.
פיאנו?
אין שום גוף, שום מנגנון שפועל כרגע לעצור אותו.
אנחנו מדברים מאז 7...
And suddenly this is like a bass, a humming bass, like I know this vibe. This vibe is something that is a trope of Israeli documentaries about how we are treating the poor Palestinians that get funding from the government and that are a part of the mechanism of, in Hebrew, yorim vebochim, translated shooting and crying. This is a very fundamental mechanism of Zionist society and especially of the liberal faction of Zionism. Liberal Zionists love to shoot and then cry. They kill and shoot and steal and ethnically cleanse and commit genocide. And then what they do is they make a documentary about how sad they are that they killed and stole. They won't say I need to go to prison. They won't say I will give back what I stole. They will say I am making a documentary and I will expose the crimes and I will come clean and I will say how sad and regretful I am. I will say how I will start crying and crying and crying, and this is the way that I will atone for my sins. I won't stop committing the sins. I won't stop supporting it when it's convenient. Okay, like liberals here in the US. Yes, of course, liberals love to commit crimes and then cry about it because they're narcissists. This is narcissist behavior, okay? And this is an industry in Israel. It's an industry. And this thing that you have like this piano music in the background that's like sad, da, 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 da. And then when you get to the dramatic part, the piano music suddenly stops, and then you get like the like the low humming when you want to say the serious part. This is a trope of these documentaries. I've watched dozens of these documentaries, so I know this trope very, very well. I wanted you to notice it, okay?
אוקטובר ועד עכשיו כמעט 960 הרוגים פלסטינים, מתוכם 181 ילדים, 69 הפצצות מהאוויר על המחנות הפליטים בצפון הגדה, יותר מ-40,000 תושבים נזרקו מהבתים שלהם, ויום יום יש ביצוע של הריסות בתוך המחנות האלו, התקפות של המתנחלים על הקהילות הבדואיות ועל
I think this is enough for the video itself. Now I want to show you a few more points. I've been going on for a long time now. I want to show you a few more points. Okay. Here is the first sentence that they write in the text that is presenting the report. Since October of 2023, Israel has shifted its policy towards the Palestinians. This is the first sentence. Already this is suspect, right? Israel has shifted its policy towards the Palestinians. Did it really? Did it really? Was the policy not always to oppress the Palestinians as much as we can without getting too much repercussions? Wasn't only always the policy to take over more and more and more land and kill more and more and more Palestinians and drive away more and more and more Palestinians? Was it really such a big shift? But now I want to show you something very interesting. This is the English version. Let's go to the Hebrew version. And the Hebrew version, genocide shelanu, our genocide, our own genocide. Now we have our own genocide. And here it says, ever since, okay, now let's translate the first sentence of the Hebrew version to English. Since October 2023, Israel has fundamentally changed its policy towards the Palestinians. Here is this word, fundamentally. Fundamentally. In the English version, it says shifted its policy, and in the Hebrew version it says fundamentally changed its policy. When we're speaking with Israelis, we must say that the change is fundamental to and the message is before October 7th it was bad, but it wasn't fundamentally bad. After October 7th, now it's fundamentally bad. What is the conclusion? The conclusion is that we have to go back to what it was, to the good kind of Zionism with its own problems, but the Zionism that is not genocidal. This is the message. Okay. Let me see if there are more points that I want to make. Let's see. Here is the last point that I want to make. I'm getting tired. This is very difficult to analyze these things because it's very subtle. Okay, the tricks are very subtle. This is why I want to do it so much, because I want to expose the subtle tricks. The last thing that I want to show you is, okay, so there is a woman whose name is Orly Noy, okay? And Orly Noy used to be the chairman of B'Tselem. She used to be, or she still, no, she still is the chairman of B'Tselem, okay? And I have a personal history with Illinois. And I'm telling you this so that you understand how difficult this is for me to criticize her. I have been following Illinois on Facebook for probably 15 years now. Okay? I have read many of her Facebook posts. She was an integral part of my education about how the oppression of the Palestinians by Zionism looks, and what is happening in Gaza and in the West Bank. She is an important part of my process that got me where I am today. Right after October 7th, I posted some stuff on Facebook which were like very explicitly anti-Zionist, because I was already like almost completely into my process of becoming entirely anti-Zionist, of completely deprogramming myself from the cult. And a lot of extremist Zionists came to my Facebook page, to my Instagram page, and sent me hundreds of threatening messages with death threats, with rape wishes, with curse words, a lot of very scary stuff. I was doxxed, blah, 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 a lot of scary stuff. And at this moment, I spoke with Illinois. She already knew me because she knew that I was writing stuff. I knew her because I've been following her writing for 15 years. I knew that she was on my side, and I spoke with her on the phone, and she really helped me deal with this very difficult and frightening situation. Okay, so I really appreciate Illinois' work. I really appreciate what she does, what she did. I really appreciate what she did personally for me. But in the last few months, I've been noticing more and more that there is something about her writing that is not really precise, something that is problematic about her writing. And if I want to define what is problematic around her writing, it's two things. One of them is the form, and one of them is the content. So the form is, okay, I will say about the form later. The content is suspiciously not directly and clearly anti-Zionist. She never, ever speaks directly against the Zionist project. She never says that she is an anti-Zionist. She never says directly and clearly that Zionism is the problem. She never says that we need to dismantle the state of Israel. She says we need to dismantle the regime of supremacy. Is the regime of supremacy just Zionism? Is the regime of supremacy just the state of Israel? The colonial project? Who knows? And in the last few months, I've been trying to challenge her several times on this. I wrote comments on her Facebook page, challenging her on these points, okay? And I got zero response. And I noticed that she never, ever responds to anyone who criticizes her from the left. Anyone who says, hey, are you actually an anti-Zionist? What did you mean by this? Did you mean, when you say the regime of supremacy, do you mean Zionism? Do you mean that we need to dismantle Zionism as a project? Do you mean that we need to dismantle the state of Israel as a state? Do you mean that we need to replace it with one democratic state for all its inhabitants between the river and the sea? She never answers. She always ignores. And now I want to show you, and about the form, I started noticing more and more that the form is narcissistic in the way that all Zionists are narcissistic. And I don't want to say this about Illinois. I don't want to attack her, but I want people to understand who she is, who the chairman of B'Tselem is, and what kind of clique she belongs to, and what part of the Zionist cult she belongs to and represents. You sound disappointed and hurt. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes we outgrow our teachers. Yes, I'm disappointed and hurt. Yes. And obviously this affects me, but it's not my point, okay? It's not my point. My point is that we have to understand the structure of the Zionist cult, and that we have to understand that certain factions of the Zionist cult that serve the Zionist system present themselves in a very manipulative way as people who are pro-Palestine, who are against Zionism, and we have to be very vigilant of this, because this is the kind of vulnerability that we, as people who are actually anti-Zionist and actually want to liberate Palestine, have. Organizations like B'Tselem can take advantage of certain vulnerabilities of the movement to free Palestine and to dismantle Zionism, because they present themselves as allies and they demand collaboration and cooperation. They will demand that you promote their report and that you do not criticize their report. And if you do criticize the report, if you do criticize the chairman of B'Tselem, if you do criticize the Orly Noy, if you do criticize B'Tselem as an organization, if you do criticize this specific flavor of liberal Zionism and call them for what they are, which is Zionists, they will be indignant. They will be like, how dare you, we are on your side. And that is how they avoid criticism. And now let's look at Orly Noy's post, where she announced the report. Do you see the screen now? Do you see the screen? Okay, so this is Orly Noy's post where she announced the report, the new report by B'Tselem. And please look at all the comments, okay? So, first of all, can I translate it here? Can I even scroll it here? Something is wrong with this. 1 second. Let me see if I can. Okay. No, for some reason I can't scroll it. This is a problem. Can I? See all comments. Okay, never mind. I can't show you the thing. There is a technical problem. What I will do is tell you. Okay, what I will do is tell you what happened there. There was a post about announcing that B'Tselem published this report, and it was full of self-congratulation. Look at how amazing we are. Look at all the amazing work that we did, the professional work that we did, the serious work that we did in exposing this genocide. Okay? Look at us. And then you go over the comments, and the comments are one by one after the other. The comments are, and in the video is, of course, Orly Noy speaking. Okay? Of course, it's a video of Orly Noy speaking and announcing this report in Arabic. In Arabic. Look at me, I speak Arabic, I'm a part of Palestinian society. I'm almost an integral part of Palestinian society. Okay? Not to change the focus, but it's very much like how Bed Empanada called out Owen Jones. Although I also don't agree with that. That's interesting. I think it was very, very good that Ben Empanada called out Owen Jones. I think one of the things I appreciate most about Ben Empanada is that he is not afraid to call out people, even if they are on his side. I appreciate it, and I got inspiration from it, and I'm doing something similar now. And yes, it's a very similar phenomenon. And yes, I see a very strong similarity between Owen Jones and Oldino. Very strong similarity. Same kind of vibe, same kind of political position. So the comments to all his posts are one after the other. Thank you, amazing work, you're amazing, thank you, you're so amazing, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hundreds of comments, over 1,000 likes on this post, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments, all of them positive, all of them saying you're amazing, all of them just praising the work and praising the morality of the people of B'Tselem doing this work. Between those amongst those hundreds of comments, you could see one or two comments of people saying, one comment from someone who is not Israeli, saying, why did it take you so long? A comment that Orly Noy did not respond to. And another comment written in Hebrew by an Israeli who said like this: listen, this is amazing work. I don't want to sound petty, but can you explain why it took so long? I don't want to, paying the lip service, saying everything is okay, you're amazing, 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 but I wonder if you can explain why it took so long. And what did she write? She said, this is a very serious report. It took a lot of work. So it took us months to make it, and only now are we publishing it. And now I want to answer this. First of all, she said something along the lines of, we don't want to make claims that are, frivolous and without we are a serious organization, blah, 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 like that. So I ask, first of all, couldn't you say beforehand, as an organization, couldn't you say beforehand that this was maybe a genocide? Couldn't you say beforehand that many experts around the world are calling it a genocide? Couldn't you say stuff like that? Couldn't you say that there is a high suspicion of a genocide? They didn't say any of this. B'Tselem didn't say any of this. They waited for the time where it was convenient to say genocide, and then they did it. Also, do you think we're stupid that it took you a year and a half to make this report? That it took you a year? Okay, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Half a year. I'll be generous. I'll give you half a year. 21 months? This is what it took you? Do you think we're stupid? And also, look at the fucking production value. Look at this. This is what they invested so much time in. They invested many months in making this design, in making the branding, in making the video, in making the production, in the design, in all of this, in all of the PR campaign around this. The report itself, they could have published it. It wasn't so much work. It seems like the vast majority of the work was on the branding and on the PR. This is what it seems to me. If you didn't focus so much on PR, you could have released this report much earlier. And this matters. This matters because when I called it a genocide back in November or December of 2023, I already called it a genocide regularly. I was branded a lunatic. Someone who is crazy and exaggerating and just using words without any justification and just creating false equivalency with the Jewish Holocaust and trying to create shock value and being a demagogue and blah, 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 blah. If B'Tselem had joined people like me in calling it a genocide a year and a half ago, or a year ago, or 6 months ago, my job would have been much easier. People who attacked me personally for being, completely extreme by calling it a genocide could not have done this so easily. So this matters. And in this way, I think that B'Tselem betrayed their role as a human rights organization. And this affected me personally. I was hurt by this person. Of course, the Palestinians were hurt by this. Of course, the movement to free Palestine was hurt by this. But I have a personal issue with this as well. Okay? I'm not the most important part here, but this is why I am justifying in being personally outraged. Okay? And it goes even further, because if even B'Tselem doesn't call it a genocide, what gives you alone why do you think you know better than B'Tselem? Even B'Tselem, the human rights organization, didn't call it a genocide, so it cannot be a genocide, right? The moment that B'Tselem doesn't call it a genocide or waits 21 months to call it a genocide, they are betraying the Palestinians, they are betraying the victims of the genocide, they are betraying their role as a human rights organization, and they are betraying anyone else who does call it a genocide because they are intellectually and morally honest. So no, not good work, not good job, not kol hakavod, which means respect. No respect. No. Shame on you, B'Tselem. Shame on you, B'Tselem, for taking 21 months to speak up. Okay, I have so many other things to say about this, but I've been going on for 2 hours and 15 minutes now. I have a problem being succinct, okay? But what I want us to learn from this, I will say the bottom line. This is why I'm an anarchist, okay? This kind of things this kind of phenomena is the reason, is what brought me to understand that anarchism is the correct political attitude, is the correct attitude to life in general, is the correct attitude to ethics and morality. Why? Because we see how these hierarchical organizations that are dependent on resources and on support from general hierarchical society, they cannot serve as a moral compass. If you expect organizations, such human rights organizations, to be the voice that leads the revolution, please do not expect it. Please understand that these organizations are an integral part of the system. They serve the system because they have to serve the system, because otherwise they could not exist in the way that they exist. That the people who work in these organizations are people of a certain milieu, of a certain kind of political belief. I could not work for B'Tselem because the moment that I would start work for B'Tselem, I would see the corruption, I would see the distortion of reality, I would see the weakness of the argumentation, I would see the lack of moral backbone, and I would be outraged. And then I would be immediately fired. Okay, people like me cannot work in B'Tselem. Only people like Orly Noy, who are very, very good at rhetoric and manipulation and presenting things in a certain way, okay? Only people like her and Yuli Novak can work at B'Tselem, can be part of this organization. And then the result is that B'Tselem and other human rights organizations will not lead the movement of liberation. Never, ever, ever. Don't expect them to do it. You need to do it. You. every single person watching this live stream, every single person watching this video, if you made it this far, you are a serious person. So I want to talk to you. You need to take responsibility for yourself. Okay? I want to talk to myself. I don't know how to talk to myself. I need to take responsibility for myself. Each and every single one of us need to take responsibility for ourselves. We cannot outsource our morality to other people. We cannot outsource our morality to organizations. We can definitely not outsource our morality to states. We can definitely not outsource our morality to companies that want to make money. We cannot outsource our morality even to human rights organizations. Please think for yourself what is the moral thing to do. Please take responsibility for your own morality, and please take responsibility to lead other people in this process. And not leading in the sense of, you must listen to me, I will impose my will on you. And this I say to myself as well. Leading in the way of example. Give inspiration to other people to do the same thing that you are trying to do, which is taking responsibility for our own morality. On our own and collectively. On our own and collectively. This is what I have been understanding about anarchy. Anarchy is the place where the correct form of individuality and the collective meet. The healthy way that an individual and the collective meet is anarchy, because in anarchy, each individual takes responsibility for their own morality, for their own actions, and we also do it collectively. We also evolve collectively. We help each other do the very same thing. This is one aspect of this meeting place between individuality and the collective. And Mark Derv is saying, liberation starts from your dinner plate. Veganism is the moral baseline and the foundation of anarchy. I don't know if it's the foundation of anarchy. I know many vegans who are not anarchists, but it is an integral part of anarchy, I think. Because if you are an anarchist, you must understand that all hierarchies cannot be justified, that no one is more important than anyone else, and that using violence to violate the freedom of others is always wrong. And very basic, one of the fundamentals then, I can agree with that. And a very, very immediate corollary of this realization is that you shouldn't eat others, right? You shouldn't kill and eat others just for your own, personal and superficial and momentary pleasure. Of course. So veganism is a basic corollary of anarchism. And if you still eat others, if you still exploit others to as slaves to make your food, you are not an anarchist. Just very simple. As simple as that. Don't call yourself an anarchist, okay? Okay. Dropping bombs on families and eating chicken are not the same. I think that they come from the very same place. They come from this place of supremacy. Thinking that you are more important than others. Thinking that you are more important than others causes Zionists to drop bombs on children and people who are not children. And thinking that you are more important than others causes a lot of humans, the vast majority of humans, to eat non-human animals, to kill and eat the corpses of non-human animals. Anarcho-veganism is not just a logical extension of anarchism, like River is saying, but you're saying that anarcho-veganism is a logical extension of veganism. I'm saying that if you're not an anarchist, you're not really a vegan. If you're not vegan, you're not really an anarchist. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So on this note, we will finish this again very long live stream. Again, I am nothing if not succinct. I always get to the point very quickly, and I always make my point very succinctly. So on this note, we will finish this live stream. I hope you got a glimpse into a certain faction of the Zionist system, and this faction is human rights activists, human rights organizations. Okay, this clique, this faction of the Zionist system is a very dangerous one because it is so manipulative, because it convinces you that it is on your side when actually it is on the side of Zionism, when actually it narrates the narrative of Zionism, it propagates the propaganda of Zionism, a certain flavor of Zionist propaganda, a certain flavor of the Zionist narrative. And I want, if you want to take one thing from this live stream, please take the following: that you should be very vigilant of this kind of behavior, where people start off by telling you, "I'm on your side," and then start saying things that you disagree with, and demanding that you cooperate with these kind of things that you don't really agree with. Usually on the basis of pragmatism. Don't fall for this. Okay, thank you everyone for being with me for so long. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are not already subscribed to the channel. Share this video with your friends who you think would find it interesting. Share any other video from this channel. Donate to my Patreon if you really want to help me continue doing my work. And have a great day, and free Palestine, free the entire planet, down with Zionism, down with all oppression, and vive la révolution. Bye bye.